The breath is the first fortress of the wise soul, for no fortune can steal from you the rhythm of your own lungs. And the Stoics taught that mastery over the smallest movements within yourself precedes mastery over the storms of the world. Imagine for a moment that every financial fear, every restless night spent worrying about debts or uncertain income, is like a gust of cold wind battering against the columns of an ancient temple. Without the inner pillars of controlled breathing, the temple trembles. With them, it stands unmoved. This is the unseen power of the Stoic approach to respiration, to anchor the mind so firmly in the present moment that even the fiercest anxieties about money dissolve into clarity. Stay with me until the very end of this journey, and you will discover not only a practice, but a profound truth hidden in plain sight. A truth that ancient philosophers whispered to their students in courtyards of marble, and that modern neuroscientists are only now beginning to measure. A truth that will allow you to reclaim your sense of agency over financial anxiety and build a steadier path toward freedom. Close your eyes and picture a Roman portico at dawn. The marble is cool under your bare feet. Merchants are already in the square beyond, shouting about prices, opportunities, and scarcity. But within the shaded walkway, a teacher sits cross-legged. His robe is simple. His chest rises and falls with slow, deliberate breaths. This teacher does not flee from the chaos of the market. He inhabits its edge, breathing in the same air, yet remaining untouched by its fever. He is modeling for his students the art of drawing power from stillness. He tells them that before you can deliberate wisely about coins and contracts, you must govern your own nervous system. Breath is the lever, he says, by which the mind can be pried loose from panic and restored to reason. Now bring this scene into your own life. Replace the Roman portico with your kitchen at night. The soft hum of the refrigerator becomes the distant murmur of the forum. Bills sit on the table like scrolls, waiting for the seal of your decision. Your heart races as you think of deadlines, of rising costs, of the uncertainty ahead. Yet you have within you the same lever as that ancient teacher. With one conscious inhalation through the nose and one long exhalation through the mouth, you begin to lower the inner temperature of your thoughts. You start to feel a space open between the stimulus of a bill and your reaction to it. In that space lies freedom. This script will guide you through that space, using vivid images and stories to help you understand how the simplest act, breathing, can transform your relationship with money, anxiety, and decision-making. The Stoics taught that externals are not entirely under our control, but our judgments about them are. Modern science adds that our judgments are filtered through a nervous system constantly scanning for threat. Financial instability activates the same fight-or-flight circuits as a predator in the wild. The muscles tense, the breath becomes shallow, and the prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational planning, loses resources to the amygdala's alarm. No spreadsheet can override a body in panic, but just as a sailor trims his sails to catch a favorable wind, you can use breathing techniques to redirect the storm of adrenaline and reclaim executive control. This is why respiration, though humble, is a cornerstone of resilient financial behavior. In ancient Rome, a merchant named Lucius told Epictetus that he could not stop worrying about the price of grain. Epictetus listened and then asked Lucius to focus on his breathing for a count of 10, while imagining that every exhale released his attachment to outcomes. After several minutes, Lucius felt calmer. Only then did Epictetus discuss contracts and storage. The lesson was clear. Until the body is calmed, the mind cannot weigh options clearly. Fast forward to a modern entrepreneur in a high-rise office. She faces a sudden market downturn. Before making drastic moves, she closes her eyes and practices diaphragmatic breathing learned from a mindfulness seminar. Her pulse slows, her perspective widens, and she chooses a measured response instead of a desperate gamble. Different eras, same principle. This journey will not merely describe techniques, but will weave them into stories so that you can feel their truth rather than merely hear it. We will travel from the marble forums of antiquity to the fluorescent glow of contemporary offices, from the silence of monastic cells to the hum of public transportation, where workers check their bank balances on glowing screens. Each setting will reveal another facet of how conscious breathing creates a buffer against financial fear. You will learn why voluntary slowness in respiration can increase heart rate variability, a measure of adaptability, why exhalation length matters, and how this physiological shift translates into clearer thinking about money. More importantly, you will sense the dignity that comes from meeting each financial challenge with composure rather than reactivity. Picture a craftsman in Athens shaping a statue. Every chisel stroke is measured, patient, deliberate. Now picture a person shaping a monthly budget. Every choice of where to allocate funds is also a chisel stroke on the sculpture of a life. If the craftsman's hand trembles from haste or fear, the statue cracks. If your decisions are made under the tight grip of financial panic, your long-term plans crack. Breathing is the pause that steadies the hand. It is the friend who reminds you to lift your eyes from the immediate number to the larger shape you are carving. This script invites you to practice that pause again and again, not as an escape from action, but as the prelude to wiser action. As we move deeper, imagine sitting on a simple wooden stool in a candlelit room. You are not performing an esoteric ritual. You are inhaling slowly through your nose for 4 counts, holding gently for 2, exhaling through your mouth for 6. With each exhale, you visualize letting go of the specific fear, late payments, unexpected repairs, volatile markets that clenches your stomach. With each inhale, you draw in stability, clarity, and a sense of proportion. This is not mysticism. It is training your vagus nerve, lowering cortisol, and restoring access to the reasoning centers of your brain. The Stoics might not have known the terms, but they understood the experience. We will continue by exploring the neuroscience behind this ancient wisdom, showing how repeated practice rewires your stress response, and by telling stories of individuals who shifted their financial lives, not through sudden windfalls, but through disciplined calm. Stay with me until the end, and you will receive the full pattern, the deeper truth hinted at in the opening. It is a truth about freedom that transcends money itself, a truth that breathes through centuries like an unbroken thread. Modern research has begun to reveal in precise terms what the Stoics intuited. When you breathe slowly and deeply, especially lengthening the exhalation, you activate the parasympathetic branch of your autonomic nervous system. This calms the heart, lowers blood pressure, and quiets the flood of stress hormones that impair judgment. Imagine a trader on a bustling exchange floor, or a worker opening an email about an unexpected expense. In both cases, shallow, rapid breathing accelerates the stress response and narrows the field of view. By consciously altering the breath, you send a signal of safety back to the body, and the mind regains its wider horizon. This is not about ignoring real financial problems, but about equipping yourself with the composure needed to address them effectively. Think of Marcus Aurelius writing his meditations at night under the military tent. Outside, the empire is vast and restless. Inside, he reminds himself to return to the breath, to the present moment, to the small sphere of control. You can adopt the same stance when facing your personal economy. Instead of spiraling into catastrophic fantasies about the future, you return to the tangible rhythm of your lungs. Each breath becomes a vote for sanity, an anchor that prevents you from drifting into the storms of speculation. With practice, this ritual builds a baseline of steadiness so that when true crises come, you are already conditioned to respond rather than react. Let us step into a story. A young professional named Sophia lives in a city where the cost of living climbs faster than her salary. Every month, she experiences a tightness in her chest as bills approach. She once tried to outthink her anxiety by making ever more detailed spreadsheets, but the panic persisted. Then she discovered a simple practice drawn from Stoic teachings. Before opening her bills, she takes 3 minutes to sit upright. Inhale through the nose for a count of 4. Hold for 2, exhale for 6, and repeat. Over weeks, her nervous system begins to anticipate calm rather than crisis at bill time. She notices she can prioritize more effectively, negotiate bills without trembling, and even sleep better. The numbers have not changed, but her relationship to them has. She is no longer a captive of financial anxiety. She is a participant, breathing through each decision with dignity. Breathing, then, is not a retreat, but a form of preparation. Just as athletes regulate their breathing to maintain endurance, you can regulate yours to maintain financial endurance. Consider Seneca's letters where he advises practicing poverty, not to glorify suffering, but to rehearse resilience. A breathing practice is a daily rehearsal of composure. It teaches your body what it feels like to be unshaken, even while confronting discomfort. This carries over into money matters. When the market dips or an unexpected expense arises, you have already rehearsed steadiness. You know how to exhale slowly, how to delay impulsive reactions, how to wait for clarity before acting. The sensory richness of this practice also matters. When you slow down enough to feel the cool air entering your nostrils and the warmth of the exhale leaving, you are training attention. Attention is a scarce resource in modern economies. Advertisers, algorithms, and even our own fears compete for it. A focused, calm attention allows you to see through illusions, whether in a flashy investment pitch or a social media comparison. By grounding in breath, you reclaim your attention from the noise, which is the first step toward wise financial action. Now envision a craftsman again, but this time he is forging coins. Each strike of the hammer must be precise. Too hard or too soft, and the imprint is flawed. Your daily financial choices are like these strikes. Without a steady rhythm of breathing, your strikes become erratic. With a steady rhythm, you imprint your values consistently on the currency of your life. Over time, the pattern accumulates into a reputation, a credit history, a legacy. All begin with the humble, invisible act of a controlled inhale and exhale. We are approaching the deeper layer of this teaching. The Stoic secret of respiration is not only about calming the nervous system, it is about remembering your true measure of wealth. When you breathe consciously, you experience directly that you are alive now, not in some hypothetical future. Money is a tool for future possibilities, but breath is the reality of the present. By training yourself to return to the present before making financial decisions, you align your spending and saving with your actual values, rather than with fears or fantasies. This is how breathing can subtly but powerfully reshape your financial destiny. In the next part of our journey, we will explore specific imagery exercises the ancients used, how to combine breathing with visualization of virtue, and how modern behavioral finance confirms that calm physiological states lead to better long-term outcomes. We will also meet more characters, merchants, artisans, and thinkers, whose stories illustrate the transformation from anxiety to equanimity. Stay with me, because at the end, we will return to the opening promise and reveal the hidden truth that unites breath, freedom, and financial mastery. Imagine walking through a bustling marketplace in Carthage or Alexandria, the air thick with spices, coins clinking, and merchants calling out their prices. In the middle of this sensory storm, an older woman sits quietly by a fountain, eyes half closed, drawing slow, measured breaths. She is not disengaged from commerce. She is preparing her mind to engage it with clarity. This scene mirrors our modern lives. The marketplace may now be digital, the voices algorithms, but the effect on our nervous systems is the same. Without a deliberate anchor, we are swept away by urgency. With conscious breathing, we create a still point around which all transactions revolve. The ancients practiced this stillness as a discipline, not a luxury, and they transmitted it as a way to maintain freedom in any circumstance. Consider a craftsman who loses a major client. His income dips suddenly. Instead of rushing to fill the void with any job, he takes a morning to sit in the courtyard, focusing on his breath. Inhaling, he acknowledges his fear. Exhaling, he releases the need for immediate certainty. This pause allows a wiser course to emerge, diversifying his services, renegotiating with existing clients, or even taking time to improve his craft. The breathing did not solve his financial problem, but it created the mental space in which a solution could arise. This is the essence of Stoic practice applied to money. It is not about suppressing feelings, but about mastering their initial surge so that reason can speak. Modern science echoes this wisdom. Research on heart rate variability shows that when we slow and deepen our breathing, we increase our capacity to adapt to stresses. Financial volatility is one of the most common stresses in adult life. By training your breath, you're effectively training your adaptability. This makes you less likely to panic sell an investment, more likely to negotiate assertively, and better able to stick with long-term plans. Each of these behaviors compounds over time into greater financial stability. This is why breathwork, though seemingly small, can have outsized effects on your material life. Let us move into a deeper layer of practice. The Stoics often paired breathing with contemplation of universal order. As you inhale, imagine drawing in not only air, but perspective, the vastness of time, the countless people who have faced similar struggles, the impermanence of all wealth. As you exhale, imagine releasing your personal tension into that larger flow. This visualization shrinks the problem to its true scale. A looming bill becomes a single wave on a vast ocean. A downturn in income becomes a season rather than a catastrophe. Such images, combined with deliberate respiration, reshape your inner narrative, and with it, your financial behavior. Here is a modern illustration. Daniel, a small business owner, felt constant dread about cash flow. He began practicing a simple morning ritual. 3 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing while visualizing a vast, calm sea. Over months, he noticed that he no longer snapped at employees during stressful weeks. He became more strategic, less reactive, and his team responded with greater trust. Revenue stabilized, not through luck, but through improved leadership. Breathing had rewired not only his physiology, but his financial culture. This is the kind of transformation available to anyone willing to practice. Another crucial element is self-awareness of triggers. Financial anxiety often arises before a conscious thought appears. You may feel a knot in your stomach as you open your banking app. By pausing for a single slow inhalation and extended exhalation, you interrupt the automatic loop of stress. The Stoics called this the prohairesis, the faculty of choice. Breathing is a physical gateway to that faculty. Each time you choose to breathe consciously, rather than react automatically, you strengthen your ability to act from reason rather than impulse. Over time, this becomes a habit that permeates every financial decision. We must also speak of values. Controlled breathing is not just a stress hack. It is a reminder of what truly matters. In the pause between breaths, you can ask yourself, does this purchase align with my principles? Does this investment reflect my long-term vision or my short-term fear? The calm state induced by deliberate respiration makes it easier to answer honestly. In this way, breathing becomes a moral as well as a practical discipline. It helps ensure that your financial life is an expression of your character rather than a series of reflexes to external pressures. As we continue, you will be invited to experiment with these practices, to imagine yourself in ancient settings and modern scenarios, to feel the shift in your own body as you breathe along with the stories. Stay with me, because at the end we will tie together all these threads into a single insight that reveals the hidden link between breath, freedom, and wealth that endures beyond any balance sheet. Now picture yourself on a quiet hillside just outside a city. It could be Rome, or it could be your own modern hometown. The noise of commerce drifts faintly upward, but here the wind is softer and the sky wider. You sit, close your eyes, and feel the breath moving in and out of your body. With each inhalation, you remind yourself that your worth is not defined by your income, but by your capacity to live in alignment with reason and virtue. With each exhalation, you release the comparisons that drive much financial anxiety. This simple practice, repeated daily, begins to shape your nervous system and your worldview. You start to notice the difference between needs and wants, between true opportunities and mirages, between urgency and importance. The longer you maintain this practice, the more your financial decisions reflect clarity rather than compulsion. Let us travel back to the bustling Roman Forum, where coins change hands and deals are struck. Amid the crowd stands a young man named Gaius. He has inherited a modest sum and is eager to multiply it. Around him, voices urge speculation, quick profits, risky ventures. But Gaius remembers the lessons of his Stoic tutor. Before committing, he retreats to a quiet corner, places a hand on his abdomen, and draws slow, steady breaths. As he does, the noise recedes and his priorities re-emerge. He recalls his family's needs, his long-term goals, and the virtue of patience. When he returns to the market, he invests conservatively and steadily, rather than chasing every rumor. Years later, he has built sustainable wealth. The difference was not merely strategy, but the ability to breathe through temptation and think clearly. Modern life offers the same tests. You might face an advertisement promising instant riches, a friend pushing a risky scheme, or the urge to spend impulsively after a stressful day. Each of these moments can be met with a single conscious breath. That breath creates a gap in which you can ask, is this aligned with my principles? Will this decision serve me in 5 or 10 years, or only in the next 5 minutes? By making the breath a ritual before financial action, you build a mental muscle as real as any bicep. This muscle is self-command. It grows stronger with each repetition until it becomes your default state. This is not about becoming passive. The Stoics were not disengaged from society. They were active citizens, merchants, and leaders. But they believed in acting from a place of inner steadiness rather than outer frenzy. Breathing is the training ground for that steadiness. It is like sharpening a blade before battle or tuning an instrument before a concert. Without it, your actions may be hurried and discordant. With it, they can be deliberate and harmonious. The calm you cultivate through respiration does not remove you from the financial world. It equips you to navigate it more effectively. Think also of the physiological benefits. Regular slow breathing improves heart rate variability, which correlates with resilience. It reduces cortisol, the stress hormone that, when chronically elevated, leads to poor sleep, impulsive behavior, and even impaired immune function. Financial stress is one of the most common chronic stressors in the modern world. By practicing Stoic-inspired breathing, you are not only improving your mental clarity, but also protecting your physical health. A healthy body supports a healthy mind, and together they support sound financial choices. You can combine this practice with reflection on impermanence. As you inhale, remember that all fortunes rise and fall. As you exhale, release your grip on outcomes you cannot control. This does not mean apathy. It means freeing yourself from the illusion that your security rests entirely on external factors. True security, the Stoics taught, is found in character and reasoned action. By breathing in awareness of impermanence, you cultivate gratitude for what you have and courage to face what you do not. This mindset leads to more sustainable financial behavior because it removes the desperation that drives reckless decisions. Let us visit one more modern example. A teacher named Anna has long struggled with credit card debt. Each month she feels a wave of shame and anxiety when the statement arrives. She decides to experiment with Stoic breathing before opening the envelope. She sits upright, inhales through her nose for 4 counts, holds for 2, exhales for 6, and repeats for 3 minutes. Over time, she notices that the shame softens. She can look at the numbers more objectively and plan a repayment strategy without self-recrimination. This new calm helps her negotiate lower interest rates and cut unnecessary expenses. Within 2 years, she is debt-free. The breathing practice did not magically pay her bills, but it transformed her relationship with them, which changed her behavior and thus her outcome. As we near the heart of this script, the pattern should be emerging. Breathing slows the body, which steadies the mind, which clarifies values, which guides financial action. This chain reaction can reshape a life. Yet there is a deeper truth still waiting at the end, a truth about freedom that transcends even wise money management. Remain with me as we enter the final stage of this exploration, where the Stoic secret of respiration reveals its ultimate gift. At the deepest level, the Stoic secret of breathing is not only a technique for calming financial anxiety, but a doorway into a different way of living. Each deliberate inhalation and exhalation is an act of reclaiming sovereignty over your inner world. When you practice this while facing your bank account or your career decisions, you are training yourself to experience money not as a master, but as a tool. This shift changes everything. You are no longer merely reacting to the economy. You are acting from your principles within it. The merchants and statesmen of antiquity understood that their fortunes could vanish overnight through war or decree. Yet those who trained their minds through breath retained a sense of freedom, even in loss. This freedom is available to you now. Imagine a day when a major setback occurs. Perhaps you lose a job, an investment fails, or an unexpected expense empties your savings. The untrained mind spirals into panic. The trained mind takes a seat, closes the eyes, and breathes. In through the nose, out through the mouth, slow and steady. The body calms, the fog clears, and a path forward appears. This does not erase grief or challenge, but it allows wisdom to emerge. Over time, this practice rewires your identity. You no longer define yourself by your financial highs or lows, but by your capacity to remain anchored in virtue and reason, regardless of circumstances. This is the hidden promise hinted at from the beginning of our journey. By mastering your breath, you master your state. By mastering your state, you master your choices. And by mastering your choices, you shape your destiny. Money remains important, but it loses its power to dominate your mood or dictate your self-worth. You become like the teacher in the portico or the woman by the fountain, present in the market, yet untouched by its frenzy. This is true wealth, the ability to meet any situation with composure and clarity. As you integrate this into your life, you will notice subtle but profound changes. Financial conversations become less charged. Negotiations feel less threatening. You pause naturally before spending. You sleep more deeply. You begin to sense opportunities and risks with greater accuracy because your perception is no longer clouded by chronic stress. This state of calm alertness becomes your new normal. From this baseline, you can plan, invest, save, and spend with a wisdom that compounds far more reliably than any interest rate. The Stoics believed that philosophy should be practiced, not merely discussed. Therefore, begin with a small commitment. Each time you confront a financial decision, take 3 conscious breaths before acting. Inhale stability, exhale fear. Inhale perspective, exhale compulsion. This ritual will grow roots in your nervous system and branches in your behavior. Over weeks and months, the practice becomes automatic, and with it comes a quiet confidence. You are teaching yourself that you can handle whatever arises. This confidence radiates outward, affecting your relationships, your work, and your financial outcomes. And here is the ultimate truth that this script promised to reveal. Breath is the one resource equally distributed at every moment. Rich or poor, you have the same access to it. By mastering it, you align yourself with a power deeper than any market trend. This alignment gives you resilience not only in money matters, but in life itself. When you can breathe calmly through uncertainty, you become free in the most fundamental sense. Your decisions flow from clarity, your actions reflect your values. And your wealth, however large or small, becomes an expression of a steady mind rather than a fearful one. This is the gift of the Stoic secret of breathing. It is not a quick fix, but a lifelong companion. With each conscious breath, you step into the lineage of those who have faced storms and stood firm. You claim your place among them, not by fortune or status, but by the simple act of mastering your own state. Carry this practice with you into every financial decision, and watch as your anxiety diminishes, your discipline strengthens, and your life aligns with a deeper freedom.